everyone, I'm Alyssa.
And I'm Brandon. And we're the
Wagners. We're a husband-wife duo who travel all around the country since 2021 for Brandon's travel nursing job.
We love hiking, car camping, new cities, and of course, the best food and drink. Along with adventure, we always look for ways to keep our travel budget-friendly.
So pack your bags and join us as we wander together. Hey Wanderers, welcome back to our page and welcome back to Northern California. If you've been a subscriber to our page for a while, you've probably picked up that we love a good national park, seashore, monument, anything like that. On our California road trip, we were able to visit a lot of national parks, which you can watch our video about. But sadly, one that we drove right by but we didn't have the time to stop at was Point Reyes National Seashore. So when we found out this was only an hour from our new home in Santa Rosa, we were super excited to plan a trip. You guys know I love to promote national parks passes, and even though I'll still suggest getting one, we actually don't need it today. That's right, this is a 100% free activity with no admission or parking fees. Since this is so close to our home and we didn't camp or anything, we just spent the day there, so let's go explore. Before you even get into the park, just the drive out there is so beautiful. We absolutely love these California rolling hills. And way out in the distance, you can even see the coast. Once we got a little closer to the seashore, we made our first stop at SS Point Reyes Shipwreck, which was actually built as a transportation vessel and then used as a fishing boat. About 25 years ago, the ship beached and got stuck in the mud flats and hasn't moved since. There's actually been some attempts to get it moved from the flats, but locals actually really like it, and especially photographers, so they try to block those efforts to get it moved. So this shipwreck is very iconic, but hurry up if you want to see it. With the way it's deteriorating, no one really knows how much longer it will be around. So one thing you'll need to be aware of while visiting this landmark is the tide schedule. If you go during low tide, you can walk all the way up to it, but if it's high tide, it might be partially submerged. I'll include a tide chart in the comments, but there isn't much reason you need to go all the way out if it does happen to be high tide while you're visiting. Just so you know, the shipwreck is located right behind like a little general store, so you might feel a little weird like walking out behind the store, but it's the right spot. So we just brought a picnic lunch to enjoy, but if you need some food, you can always get some at the store, and sometimes they even have a little deli counter that is open where you can get fresh sandwiches. So after that, we headed into the park. We stopped by the visitor center to get all of our information before heading out and to get some postcards for our nephews and nieces. The visitor center tells you all about the wildlife being preserved that you may encounter and the conservation efforts being made. One thing to note about the seashore is it's unlike a lot of national parks. There's no like one set route to follow that will just take you through everything. So the attractions can be pretty spaced out from each other. So we just stopped as we were passing things. However, Sir Francis Drake Boulevard is the main road that will probably be taking you through pretty much the whole park, and it is very scenic. Then we decided to check out Cypress Tunnel, which is a really cute road that is almost totally enclosed at the top exclusively by cypress trees. I didn't know this before, but apparently there are different types of cypress trees, so these ones are Monterey cypress trees. These trees were planted around 1930 and is one of the only trees that can adapt to the wind and the weather at Point Reyes. At the end of the row of trees, you'll come to a big white building. This is the KPH Maritime Radio Receiving Station, also called Wireless Giant of the Pacific. In the past, this building was one of the many Morse code radio stations to communicate with ships out at sea. If you want to go inside and explore the station, there's usually staff from the Historical Society on Saturdays from noon to 5 who can give you a tour or more information. However, the station was closed when we went. But we loved walking through these trees and getting a lot of pictures, and it's just such a cool view. Next, we took Sir Francis Drake Boulevard out to Point Reyes Lighthouse. Once parking, you'll have to walk to the Lighthouse Visitor Center. It's about a 10 to 15 minute walk to the Visitor Center on a paved trail, but take time to walk on this to observe the leaning trees over the cliff of the hill. It's truly a crazy sight. I'm told it's because of the intense wind, but I'm not 100% sure. It sounds a little crazy to me, so if anyone knows, please leave us a comment below. We also enjoyed seeing the thick moss that grows on the side of the trees as well. Sadly, we arrived after the visitor center had closed for the day, and so was the path down to the lighthouse, but I think that's just because it was really foggy and a little rainy when we went. So just so everyone is aware, when you walk to the parking lot to the visitor center, it is just that overlook and the visitor center. If you want to actually go to the lighthouse, there are 313 downward steps to get there, which of course then means you have to come back up the stairs when you're done. But as you can see, it was really foggy when we went, so I think it was just closed for our safety. So honestly, it was so foggy we could barely even see the lighthouse below us. That said, we did still get a great view of the cliffs down below and the waves crashing into them. After that, we continued on Sir Francis Drake Boulevard to Chimney Rock Trailhead. We were first going to try to spot some elephant seals on Elephant Seal Overlook, since these seals are really popular in this area, but the trail was actually blocked by a buck watching a doe in the thickets of the trail. So we suspect this was either his mate or his young, but either way, we didn't want to approach and seem like a threat to them, so we had to turn around. So luckily the Chimney Rock Trail is open, and honestly this was my favorite part of the day. I think we more or less accidentally made this hike a little longer because we headed down to the lifeboat station before starting the trail and then picked up the trail a little later. You can't go into this lifeboat station, but honestly the walk down to it provided great views, and I'm really happy that we added it. But if you don't do the extra walking down to the lifeboat station, the Chimney Rock Trail is only 1.8 miles with a 160-foot elevation gain, and the reward for this hike is insane. So, not blocking the path, but there's so much wildlife on this path. We saw an entire family of deer. And at the point of the trail you come to at the end of the peninsula has amazing viewpoints, even on a foggy day like the day that we had. However, due to the high volume of wildlife, no dogs are allowed on this trail. Kids will be fine on this trail, but a stroller might be a little difficult because it's not paved and it can be kind of bumpy. Honestly, even if you don't do anything else at Point Reyes, this hike is worth coming out to see just itself. And I would advocate to walk down to the lifeboat station as well. Lastly, we continued on Sir Francis Drake Boulevard to head down to Drake's Beach. You'll pass a lot of ranches out here, so you'll see a lot of cows, but keep your eyes peeled for other animals. We stopped the car to verify that we saw an elk or two, and then we looked down the road a little ways and noticed like hundreds of elk. So we felt super silly that we were really fixated on these first ones, and it took us a second to notice they were everywhere. So we drove really slow, and I tried to get some footage, but sadly their camouflage is really good, and they were far enough that it was hard to see them with my phone camera, but I guess you'll just have to make a trip out here to see them for yourself. At Drake's Beach, we enjoyed more cliffside beaches and even some grassy hills right by us and near the sand and the water. We didn't stay too long, but this is a really beautiful beach and definitely worth a quick stop. After that, we headed home, and I'd say we had a pretty successful day at Point Reyes, even despite all the fog. So have you guys been to Point Reyes before? Did we miss too much with the fog? Should we go back for the lighthouse? Let us know in the comments below. As always, thanks so much for coming along. We love to travel with you. Please remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye!